sitting right next to Pierre Debbas, RomerDebbas. And Pierre, tell me a little bit about what RomerDebbas is all about.
Sure. Well, good seeing you, Rick, and
Nice to
thanks
see
for the
you.
invitation for the interview. RomerDebbas is a 17-attorney real estate boutique law firm based in Midtown Manhattan. We focus on all transactional elements of New York City real estate with a heavy emphasis on residential and commercial transactions, finance, development, and leasing. Within that, we're representing anyone from first-time home buyers to my presentation today was about foreign nationals investing here in residential commercial properties, about 20 lenders in both their residential and commercial financing activities, several landlords, tenants, and developers in their conversion and new development projects. So we are, focused on basically every aspect of a New York City transaction. The other complementary areas to our firm, we have 2 trust and estates lawyers and an immigration lawyer as well.
Actually, I think I recall when we talked last that you had a whole department that had for Chinese-speaking clients.
Oh, so you got a good memory. Our immigration lawyer.
You're the only one that's ever said that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Our immigration attorney focuses on EB-5 visas, which is predominantly utilized by the Chinese market. So we don't have the necessary Chinese group in our firm, but that's probably what you were thinking about in terms of.
Oh, okay. I thought that was, well, it doesn't matter what I thought, but, so you have the ability to handle most transactions for international clients.
Yes, yeah, and that's what I was chatting about today in my presentation, was the tax implications and how to structure these transactions to mitigate taxes as much as possible for foreign nationals.
Now, I would think that's pretty important nowadays because, especially in the New York market and the Boston market, I would say the whole New England market, you have a lot of international clients that come in and investors. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of them are not investing $100,000.
Right.
They're talking about $500 million, $1 billion in investments in the market.
Right.
So, they have to keep you pretty busy.
Yeah, it's been good. It's the work's been consistent for several years. We've seen it for a variety of reasons. Some because they want to get their money out of their country due to economic issues that are going on. Others took advantage of the favorable exchange rates for years. Not so much today, but luckily the dollar's gotten stronger. But that was a driving factor several years ago as well. So we've seen it consistent, I want to say, for the last 8 years for the most part.
Now, is there any particular country because I know every once in a while there's the Russians are coming,
yes.
The Chinese are coming, Is there any particular country that the money's flowing in heavier than others?
China and Singapore have been very active this year and in years past, but I would say those account for a large chunk of the foreign national market coming in. And then Europe in general. It's hard to pinpoint one country is the leader in the European market, but for the most part, I'd say China and Singapore have been the most active.
So, and that was part of what you talked about on the panel today.
Yeah, that's correct.
And so now, some of the other aspects of the firm, or some of the other types of law that you practice in the firm, are just regular real estate transactions. Mm-hmm. Do you work with a lot of landlords? And
we don't do much landlord-tenant work. We work with landlords in the commercial leasing aspect.
So it's more transactions of the sale and.
Yes, that's correct. I like to joke I haven't been in a courtroom since I finished law school. So
that's not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
Either way, either as a defendant or being prosecuted. Yep. But it's interesting because I'm in the Boston market. Mm-hmm. And I know I've talked to a lot of people in the New York market, and they're both they're on fire, right. Both markets. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine how long a transaction must take, because these are not easy transactions, right. When you're putting them together. Mm-hmm. Especially from the law aspect, you get so many components that go together with these. How many attorneys does it take? It sounds like a beginning of a joke.
I think the attorneys does it take to change a light bulb. How many attorneys does it take to close a deal?
Yeah,
in our firm, we probably have 2 lawyers and a paralegal assigned to every transaction. Even regardless of the size, it just even complexity aside, the way we operate in New York, everything's so time sensitive and everything has to be done yesterday. So in order for us to be able to get things done, efficiently and in such a timely manner, we have multiple people, usually 3, on every single transaction.
And I know a lot of property owners, especially when they're buying a lot of these major transactions, they could be multiple transactions that they're working on these clients. You could have one client that has like 4 or 5 buildings that they're purchasing and selling.
Absolutely. I mean, those are ideal clients, to be honest. Otherwise, sometimes you represent somebody once, you may never hear from them again. In the that's the transactional world for you. But yeah, I mean, we have multiple clients that are very active in different asset classes and multiple transactions at the same time.
Well, in commercial real estate especially, because a lot of the major players, they have these transactions going on a regular basis. And and that's why I asked how many attorneys take to make a transaction. But I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
And I also want to thank you as one of our sponsors for the New York Real Estate Expo and the CRETech Intersect Expo, which we appreciate that very much.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it.
That's Pierre Debbas of Romer and Debbas.